The Steam Machine is out and costs over $1,000. But that doesn't have to be the end of the world, because the Steam Machine's magic sauce isn't its hardware, it's SteamOS. And as of about a month ago, Valve opened that up to everyone. Yes, you too can have your own Steam Machine copycat for the low price of taking the time to install it. If you own a Steam Deck and gone into desktop mode before, you've already experienced a huge part of what makes SteamOS what it is. Linux, Arch Linux to be specific, which to many of you might not mean anything. But to some of you, you know this title brings maximum customizability and freedom to your device. Now, could I install SteamOS on a computer, test only its gaming capabilities, and conclude it's pretty much the same as a Steam Deck? Sure, but as someone who spent the last year falling way down the Linux rabbit hole, I have a far more interesting question. How does SteamOS fare when you're not gaming, just using it as a Linux distro? As insane as that might sound, being able to use the Steam Machine as a computer is actually one of its biggest selling points. So it's a question worth asking. After all, what's the point of that selling point if the average user would be completely lost when trying to use it? So that's exactly what I want to find out today by daily driving SteamOS as a computer. There's just one teeny tiny little problem. SteamOS only works with AMD GPUs, which we do not have. So I sent one of our minions to Micro Center to pick the most budget-friendly one up, popped it into a PC, and got to installing SteamOS. The setup and install was honestly insanely fast. Faster than probably almost any other distro I've tried. And I've tried a lot of distros, so that's saying something. Once we logged in, I realized there was a major roadblock blocking my path of making SteamOS an actual practical distro I can use daily. SteamOS boots into game mode by default. If I'm gonna daily drive this thing, having to go into the menu to get to the desktop every time you turn on your computer would just be straight up crazy people behavior. No one wants to do that. But this is Linux we're talking about here. There has to be a way to get it to boot into desktop instead. And surely someone out there on the internet already found a way to do all this stuff. So step one was simple. Find a way to boot into desktop by default and turn this thing from console plus desktop environment to a desktop with gaming features. I popped open a search and sniffed around to see what I need to do. I'm used to some good old-fashioned tinkering and terminaling, so hit me with your best shot. Turns out I wouldn't even need to touch the terminal. All I need to do is change one line in this little file on my system called steamos.conf, also known as configuration. Looks like my expert Linux skills won't come in handy this time. Or so I thought. Editing any sort of file on your root system is, of course, risky business. Any good OS will ask you for your password before making any changes you ask it to. Except here, I ran into two problems. One, the pop-up that asked for the password kept deleting itself every time I tried to hit save. And two, I don't even have an admin password. SteamOS doesn't ask you to set one up. So the first order of business was figuring out how to get that pop-up to quit running away from me. Turns out SteamOS's file system is read-only, which makes sense. Valve doesn't want users accidentally blowing up their device, especially if they've never touched Linux before in their life. Turning off that read-only restriction, though, would require a terminal command, which requires a password, one that I don't have. It didn't seem like anyone online knew this mysterious default password, but the apparent fix for this was to just create your own password through the user setting, which also makes a lot of sense security-wise. Once I got read-only turned off, I could finally save my file from earlier. I hit restart and prayed to both Linux Torvalds and Gabe Newell that this first step was complete. Then boom! My one simple line change does make my DIY Steam Machine boot into desktop mode right off the bat. Just what the doctor ordered. Speaking of something that needs a doctor, look at my poor phone. Maybe yours looks similar? It's been through tons of drops and scratches throughout its entire life. Thankfully, the glass is top notch, or else I'd be looking at doing more than just adding a case and a screen protector on it. Now, I don't want just any boring case. I want something customizable, something fun, which is exactly what our sponsor Casetify does. In addition to picking from all their artist-based collaborations, you get to customize a bunch of other aspects of the case too. I'm using the Tide bounce case. Casetify cases are compatible with a ton of different phones. You can pick how much protection you want as well. They have these bounce cases, which protects your phone from even the most intense drops, up to 21.3 feet. I would know. I accidentally dropped my phone and it literally bounced off the pavement. No problem. I've been using mine for a couple weeks now, and the protection protection is spot on. Plus, it's MagSafe compatible, so I can use cool accessories like the snappy grip. So protect your phone today by picking one up from Casetify's unique designs or customize your own. You can add your name, your own photos, and colors by using the first link in the description below. Now that I've got a bona fide Linux distro at my command, it's time to install some software. The easiest way to do this, of course, is through the Discover app using Flatpaks. If you have no idea what I just said, all you need to know is that Flatpaks are the closest thing that Linux has to an .exe file. Now, if you want to learn more about this in detail, check out my other video. I'll link it down below. As for me, I'm so used to Linux at this point that I actually prefer installing software through my terminal. It's faster, simpler, and easier for your system to keep track of. Except when I tried to do that here with OBS, it didn't work. I got some errors about keys or whatever. Luckily for me, the very same thread that helped me unlock SteamOS from read-only also had the commands I needed to fix this. And the fix for the issue that came up right after that, which was 10 million bajillion lines about corrupted packages. Thank you, Reddit post from 2 years ago. Once that was all tidied up, the world was my oyster. I could install OBS, my 3D printing software, whatever. Admittedly, that was quite a bit more Googling and finagling than I was hoping for. I know the average person installing SteamOS is going to be some level of nerd, but there's a lot of lazy nerds out there. That being said, I was able to make all these changes, which in its own right is absolutely something worth praising. Think about it. Can you do anything even close to that on a PS5 or a Switch? I think not. On top of that, everything was seamless and smooth, from browsing, working, screen recording, even 3D modeling. Honestly, I almost forgot I was even using SteamOS. But then I ran into a problem, a big one. Sure, I'm daily driving SteamOS like nobody's business right now, but when it was time to actually fire up a game, I couldn't go back into the game mode to get my console-like experience. The desktop button for it didn't work anymore. It just boots me back into my desktop. It seems I've gotten myself into a sticky situation, one that's probably self-inflicted from some of that stuff I did earlier. Now, I had some suspicions as to what was going on, and a quick search confirmed it. The button for return to gaming mode isn't actually doing that under the hood. What it's doing is logging you out using a line of code, and then it signs you back in under the assumption that game mode is default. Now, I'm no programmer, but to me, this just seemed like a short-sighted programming choice that's now throwing a wrench into my genius plans for greatness. I wasn't gonna let that stop me, because the power of Linux is sure to solve this. If there's a button that executes code to log you out, then surely I can make my own button that signs me into game mode directly. And as it turns out, with a little bit more help from the internet, all I had to do was open a fresh text file, slap in a couple lines, and add that to my desktop. I clicked on it, and boom! I was back in game mode city. I was voted most likely to daily drive Linux in elementary school for a reason, baby. After a good session of gaming, I shut down my computer and walked away feeling pretty good about myself and about SteamOS. Sure, there are some unique quirks about it, like the read-only thing, plus some errors that needed tinkering, but that's just on-brand Linux shenanigans. Honestly, I'll even go as far to say that it's been less of a headache compared to the other distros. Looking at you, Ubuntu. Sadly, all that euphoria and pride would all come crashing down the next morning. When I powered my computer back on, guess what happened? It went straight into gaming mode. I literally just fixed that yesterday. What's going on? So I rushed back into desktop mode to open up my config file, only to see it exactly as I left it. It should still be booting into desktop mode, but it wasn't. Then I discovered the culprit. This new file named zz-steamos-autologin that suddenly spawned in the same folder. I peeped inside and saw the source of this treachery. It was using the same line of code that I changed in my original file, telling my computer to boot into game mode instead of desktop. Where did this even come from? I deleted it, restarted my computer to make sure it worked, and for a little while, all was well again in my world until the file came right back. It was literally respawning itself, and I had no idea how it was even doing that. I haven't been this mad at my computer in a long time. Why is it trying to override something that I told it to do with this respawning thing? All right. Fine. If it wants to keep coming back, I thought maybe I'll just change the file instead of deleting it. But nope, not only does it respawn itself, it also overwrites anything that I type in it. This thing felt like it was practically a virus at this point. Now it's time to figure out where in the world it was coming from. After some experimenting, I got the culprit red-handed. This annoying evil file was being made whenever I used my custom game mode shortcut that I wrote myself. But that just makes absolutely no sense. There's nothing in my shortcut that tells my computer to make a file anywhere. It's just a fancy clickable command line, unless there was something baked into SteamOS itself. That was tricking me. Remember how the original shortcut was actually just a glorified logout button? It seemed a very likely possibility. So now what? Am I just doomed to either never use game mode or be forced into game mode by default? I can't have my cake and eat it too? Nah. I never take an L so easily. So I scoured every corner of the internet, Reddit threads, obscure forum posts, YouTube videos. We even ended up trying a suggestion from the SteamOS forum of all places. And none of it worked. Not a single attempt. But there was still one little nagging suspicion. As someone who knows a thing or two about Linux, this little desktop game mode tug of war rodeo has taught me something. Game mode, or as the code has been calling it game scope, was actually some form of DE, aka a desktop environment. What I've been doing so far was actually just telling my computer to boot into KDE Plasma when it powers on. Linux also lets you easily change which DE you want to use through the login screen. All it takes is a click of a button. So out of curiosity, the pursuit of knowledge, and a Hail Mary, I logged out and logged back in, choosing game scope. Turns out I was right about this suspicion, because this method yielded a very baffling result. When I went back to the desktop to check what was in my files, that ZZ file wasn't there, even though I'd logged into game mode. Turns out using the command to switch into game mode creates that file, but getting in through the login manager doesn't. It makes no sense. If anyone can explain to me what's going on, please do. My brain hurts. In the end, I've at least found a way to get my console experience and my default desktop, albeit through some jank methods. I was feeling pretty happy with SteamOS as a distro at first, but after that wild use chase, I don't know what to think. It's glaringly obvious that it's just not designed for advanced customization and pushing it to the limits like other Linux listers. I even tried installing from new DEs on it like GNOME, but SteamOS was not happy with that. It gave me a black screen and made me restart my computer. Now, according to some people online, it just gets overwritten when SteamOS updates anyways, but I think it's worth remembering what the original goal was here. Most people aren't wanting to use SteamOS as a true daily driver. I just wanted to see the desktop capabilities, how it fared under heavy use, to see if the average SteamOS user would be able to browse and install things and play with it without having a brain aneurysm. And on that front, SteamOS was very successful. Sure, a couple of the programs I installed were more involved than your average console or Windows experience, but outside of the game mode shenanigans, the actual day-to-day experience was genuinely pretty nice. Certainly enough for most people. Heck, we wrote this video on SteamOS. Plus, it's honestly a pretty great and accessible starting point for people who just want to play around with Linux. It installs fast, it has minimal setup. Not to mention all the poking and prodding around SteamOS, I actually learned a few tricks I can do on my Steam Deck, like using desktop instead of having to close out my game, or even streaming my game on Discord without desktop mode. Crazy. But despite all the things it can do, does it make the Steam machine worth $1,000? I think the answer to that is hardly. There's something to be said about Valve themselves letting SteamOS into the wild, free for the public to use and build their own Steam machine at home. And it's a crying shame, because if the Steam machine was priced maybe even $200 less, it would be a piece of tech with some really great value. But $1,000? Many people, including myself, we have to pass. I'm curious though, could I install GameScope with something like SteamOS? The ideas are brewing. Bye.